The Heart Attack Grill, a restaurant with a hospital theme, features waitresses dressed as nurses serving extremely high-calorie dishes, such as the Quadruple Bypass Burger, which contains a staggering 9,982 calories. In a grim twist of irony, a customer suffered a fatal heart attack while dining there. Other patrons, mistakenly believing it was a publicity stunt, took photos of the incident. In the late 1700s, a letter published in a major London newspaper sparked controversy by claiming that England was being forced to accept deported prisoners from Prussia. This assertion angered the British public, who demanded an end to it. The situation also offended the Prussians, who felt insulted by the implication that England considered itself too superior to take their prisoners. The matter escalated, drawing in both governments and nearly leading to a diplomatic crisis, if not war. Later it was revealed that the entire episode was a hoax. The author of the provocative letter was none other than Benjamin Franklin, who during a 6-month stint as an ambassador in England wrote it out of boredom, merely to cause a stir and observe the fallout. In 1970, Orville Redenbacher paid a marketing firm $13,000 to come up with a name for his popcorn company. Their advice was to call it Orville Redenbacher's. A food scientist named Tom Ryan invented Jif peanut butter, Pizza Hut's double-stuffed pizza, the McGriddle, McDonald's fruit and amp, yogurt parfait, Smashburger, the meat lover's pizza, and McDonald's entire dollar menu. The Beatles, one of the most influential music groups in history, had a surprisingly short span of dominance in the music world. From the release of their first album to their last, their era of groundbreaking success lasted only about 7 years. Peter Ostrom, who portrayed Charlie in the original Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory film, chose not to pursue a career in acting after this role. Instead, he followed a different path and is now a practicing veterinarian. In 2015, in response to a soaring murder rate, the Catholic Church carried out a unique and extraordinary ritual, an exorcism over the entire country of Mexico. We use the word cancer as a medical diagnosis because Hippocrates thought the tumors looked like crabs. Doves were traditionally released during the opening ceremony of the Olympics Games until Seoul Games of 1988. Several of the birds, instead of flying away, settled on the cauldron housing the Olympic flame and were subsequently incinerated in front of the crowd when it was lit. In 1937, a man tried to find seats for himself and his wife on the Hindenburg, but there were none available next to each other. They took a plane home instead. 2 years later, the man, Martin Goodman, went on to create Marvel Comics. Prisencolinensinainciusol is an Italian pop song consisting of gibberish, and it was meant to sound like how English sounds to non-English speakers. American mathematical scientist George Dantzig was once late to class when in college and solved 2 famously unsolved statistics problems because he thought they were homework. Daniel Day-Lewis, on receiving his 2008 Oscar presented by Helen Mirren, who won an Oscar for playing the Queen, said, "That's the closest I'll come to ever getting a knighthood." He was knighted 6 years later. Matt LeBlanc hurt his shoulder while shooting a Friends episode in front of Pepsi contest winners. The studio had to close, so Warner Brothers flew the audience home and then back again for a different episode. The team behind Who Framed Roger Rabbit turned down Tim Curry for Judge Doom, thinking he was too scary. The phrase, "eat the rich," was said by philosopher Jean-Jacques Rousseau. He reportedly said, "When people run out of food, they will eat the rich." In a small town, Ken Rex McElroy was killed with 30 to 45 people watching. Nobody called for help. McElroy was such a menace that even after 30 years, no one reveals the killer's identity. A 2016 study showed that the Thunder Mountain ride at Disney World often helps people with kidney stones. Benjamin Franklin didn't like the bald eagle as America's symbol, criticizing its moral character. He preferred the turkey, praising it as a brave bird that would challenge a British grenadier. Mary Leona Gage, one of the early winners of the Miss USA pageant, lost her title after it was discovered that she was married and had children. At that time, being a wife and mother violated the rules of the contest.